Hey, welcome back to another Netcast. I'm Rich Lopez, Quantrix Authority. Fantastic that you joined me today for episode number 77, where I'm going to show you how to hide an item on a chart using two different methodologies. This is actually an answer to a question sent in to me by Fatima. So Fatima has a model here. Looks like it maybe has years going down the side, and then she has a bunch of items. And what she wants to do is she wants to display these items in a chart, okay? And she has that set up in this way. But the problem is, the very last item is actually a summary item of all of the years. And as you can see, looking at the chart, that summary item is showing up here, and it's really kind of throwing off the scale, and the chart's really not telling me anything. So the question is, how can I get this chart to not display this summary item? Well, there's two ways you can do it. The first way is simply by going to that summary item and right-clicking and selecting Collapse. So I do that, and you can see it no longer displays. So that's one way to do it, and maybe that's the way I would do it. But sometimes I want to be able to control maybe what items I show and what items I don't want to show. And I don't want to have to do that by, expanding and collapsing items here manually, because maybe I'm going to hide the collapsed items or whatever. So one thing that I've learned to do over the years is I've learned to kind of create a visible matrix helper, if you will. So let me explain what I mean. So I have all the calculations here going on in this matrix one. And what I want to do is there are certain years I want to hide, and there's certain ones I don't want to hide. And in particular, I want to hide the summary item. So what I would do is I'd create a new matrix, okay? And I'm going to rename this matrix. Let me just open up this guy. I'm going to rename matrix 3. I'm going to call him the visible helper, okay? And on visible helper, I'd get rid of the categories that come with it, with the exception and then what I would do is I would take years from my matrix 1, my calculations, and I'd drag it over so that it's linked. I'd probably go ahead and just add back another category, actually, so I can name this column something. I'm going to call this visible. Okay, and then I'm going to put, wherever I want it to be visible, I'm going to put ones in there. Okay, and I don't want this summary item calculating anymore, so I'm going to actually delete that formula, and I'm going to have him be 0, or I'm going to actually leave him blank because I don't want him visible. So now what I can do back in my chart here is you can see that I've expanded this again, but what I can do is I can throw a filter on here, and I can say filter custom logical expression, and I can say visible helper double colon, visible equals 1. If I go ahead and I click OK, you should see this one disappear. Click OK, bam. You can see that this is no longer, the summary item is no longer visible. It disappears, brings my scale to the way I want it, and makes this chart useful. Again, if I did want to see that summary item, I could go ahead and throw a 1 in here, and I would see it. If I wanted just to see the summary item, I could go ahead and I could make all the rest of them blanks like that, and it'd show me the summary item if that was of value. Anyway, this second methodology, like I showed you using this visible helper matrix, this is something that I employ frequently in the models I use. So I hope that that answers your question, Fatima, and gives you a little bit of an idea on something else that you could possibly do. So if you have any questions about Quantrix, feel free to reach out to me at quantrixauthority@gmail.com. I absolutely love Quantrix. I want to make you a Quantrix master. So please join me again for another episode of Quantrix Authority with Rich Lopez.